Imagine sitting in a luxury restaurant, enjoying a quiet evening, when out of nowhere, a homeless man storms in, rushes to your table, and slaps you across the face in front of everyone. The room falls silent. Cameras start recording. People call him crazy. But just seconds later, the truth behind that slap leaves the entire place screaming, and it saves a billionaire single mom's life. This is the shocking story of how one moment changed everything. Stop, don't move. That was the first thing anyone heard before the loudest slap rang through the air like thunder. Glasses shook on tables. A woman screamed. Forks dropped. The elegant restaurant, usually filled with whispers of business deals and the soft clinking of champagne glasses, suddenly fell dead silent. And there she was, Sophia Grant, the billionaire single mom who had built her empire from nothing, known across the country for her strength, her elegance, and her heartbreaking yet inspiring story. She sat frozen in her designer dress, her perfectly made-up face now glowing red from the sting of a slap delivered by a homeless man. The entire restaurant gasped. It didn't make sense. A man with ripped clothes, tangled hair, and shoes falling apart had just struck the city's most admired woman. Every head turned. Phones came out instantly, cameras flashing, videos rolling. "Who is he?" someone whispered. "Call security," another shouted. At first glance, it seemed like a madman's attack. Sophia had been sitting at her VIP table, waiting for a business partner, her favorite champagne already poured, when he appeared. He had stumbled into the front doors, ignoring the protests of waiters who tried to block him. His appearance was enough to spark disgust. Dirty coat, unshaven beard, and a smell of the streets that made diners wrinkle their noses. Everyone assumed he had come to beg for food or spare change. After all, what business could a homeless man have in one of the most expensive restaurants in the city? The staff moved quickly, already preparing to drag him out. But instead of heading toward the exit, he rushed forward, eyes locked on Sophia's table. The scene escalated so quickly that no one had time to stop him. He shouted something nobody could clearly understand, his words drowned by the clatter of chairs as guests backed away. And then, with one swift motion, his hand came down across Sophia's cheek. The sound echoed. The impact was shocking. Sophia's face whipped to the side, her hand immediately flying up to cover her cheek. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. She just sat there, stunned, her mind struggling to process what had just happened. The restaurant was in chaos now. Diners shouted in outrage. Security stormed forward. Some filmed, whispering that this scandal would make tomorrow's headlines. But as Sophia sat frozen, her cheek burning from the slap, she saw something in the man's eyes, panic, desperation, and fear. It wasn't the look of someone trying to hurt her. It was the look of someone trying to save her. "Ma'am, forgive me. I had to do it," the homeless man cried, his voice shaking so badly it cracked. He didn't back away even as the restaurant's furious security guards rushed toward him. His name, as people would later learn, was Ethan. The guests shouted at him, calling him insane, a criminal, a disgrace for daring to lay hands on a billionaire. But Ethan's eyes weren't wild. They were laser-focused on one thing, the sparkling glass of champagne sitting on Sophia's table. He pointed straight at it with trembling hands. "Don't drink it. Please, don't touch it. That glass is poisoned." For a split second, silence. Then laughter. Some guests scoffed, others rolled their eyes. "Poison? In here? He's lost his mind," someone muttered. To everyone else, it sounded absurd, just the ramblings of a desperate vagrant. "Get him out of here," a businessman barked, while waiters nervously tried to calm the crowd. Two guards grabbed Ethan's arms, dragging him toward the door. He fought against their grip, shouting louder and louder, his voice breaking with urgency. "Check the glass. You'll see I'm telling the truth. Please, just look at it." Sophia sat frozen, her cheeks still stinging. The logical part of her screamed to dismiss him. After all, who would poison her? She was in a 5-star restaurant with world-class security. But something about Ethan's desperation unsettled her. His eyes weren't mocking or hateful. They were pleading, begging her to trust him. Her instincts as a mother kicked in. She couldn't ignore that feeling. "Wait," she commanded sharply, raising her hand before the guards dragged him out. The entire room fell silent. Her voice carried authority. "Test the drink," she said. Everyone stared, and in that moment, everything changed. The waiter hesitated, his hands shaking as he lifted Sophia's glass. Everyone watched, some smirking, others rolling their eyes. "This is ridiculous," a woman muttered. The waiter forced a nervous laugh, trying to prove the homeless man wrong. But the moment he touched the glass to his lips and swallowed, everything changed. His eyes went wide. He dropped the glass, shattering it across the floor. His body convulsed, and he collapsed, gasping for breath. Panic erupted instantly. Guests screamed. Chairs scraped against the marble floor as people jumped to their feet. Phones dialed emergency numbers. Waiters shouted for help, and chaos swept through the once glamorous dining hall. Sophia's heart stopped. She stared at the waiter writhing on the ground, foam forming at his mouth. Ethan had been right. If she had taken even a single sip, that could have been her lying on the floor. The security guards froze, no longer dragging Ethan out. Instead, their faces turned pale as they realized what had just happened. The police were called immediately, and within minutes, paramedics rushed in, fighting to save the poisoned waiter's life. He barely survived, but his condition confirmed the truth. The champagne had indeed been laced with poison. The diners, once mocking Ethan, now whispered in fear. Who could want Sophia dead? Who had the power and the motive to slip poison into her glass in a five-star restaurant? Through all the chaos, Ethan sat silently on the floor, still cuffed, his head lowered. He didn't scream, "I told you so." He didn't demand thanks. His eyes carried only exhaustion, as though saving someone's life was just another burden he had been forced to carry. And for Sophia, a terrifying thought struck. Someone had just tried to kill her, and the only reason she was alive was because of him. When the police arrived, the first thing Sophia demanded was simple. Take those cuffs off him. Now! Reporters outside had already gathered, their cameras flashing to the windows, capturing the shocking image of Billionaire's single mom defending a homeless man who had just slapped her. The story was spreading fast. But Sophia didn't care about the cameras. She cared about the man who had just saved her life. "Why did you do it?" she asked softly once the chaos calmed down. Ethan kept his head low, ashamed of the spectacle. "Because I knew what I saw," he whispered. It was then his story began to unfold. Years ago, Ethan hadn't been a beggar on the streets. He had been a brilliant chemist, with a wife and a promising future. But tragedy hit hard when his wife died in a car accident. Depression swallowed him whole. He lost his job, his home, and slowly, everything that once defined him. People stopped looking at him as a man, and instead saw only a beggar. But his knowledge never left him. He told Sophia that when he entered the restaurant, he wasn't there to beg. He had smelled something unusual in the air, an acrid chemical hint rising from her champagne glass. His scientific instincts kicked in. That was why he had shouted. That was why he had acted so desperately. Sophia's chest tightened as she listened. She saw not just a homeless man, but a broken human being who still carried value, wisdom, and courage inside him. Everyone else saw dirt on his clothes. But Sophia saw something more. A hero who had risked everything, including his dignity, to protect her. And in that moment, she made a decision that would shock the entire world. Within days, headlines dominated every news outlet. Billionaire single mom saved by homeless man. Slap turns into miracle. Reporters camped outside Sophia's mansion, her company headquarters, and even the shelter where Ethan sometimes slept. Social media exploded with debates. Some praised him as a hero, while others questioned if Sophia was exaggerating. But the truth was undeniable. Ethan had saved her life. At her next press conference, Sophia didn't just thank him. She shocked the world. Standing proudly beside Ethan, dressed in clean clothes she had bought for him, she announced, "From today, Ethan is no longer homeless. He is now the chief safety advisor for my company." Gasps filled the room, cameras clicked furiously, and the story spread like wildfire. People who once crossed the street to avoid Ethan now recognized his face on the news as a symbol of redemption and second chances. Sophia didn't stop there. She personally arranged a furnished apartment for him and gave him access to medical care, counseling, and a steady salary. Ethan, who once slept on sidewalks, now had a key to his own door and a purpose to wake up to each morning. Tears filled his eyes when Sophia's young daughter hugged him and whispered, "Thank you for saving my mommy." That single moment was worth more to him than any paycheck. For Sophia, it wasn't just about gratitude. It was about proving that true worth isn't defined by wealth, clothes, or status. It's defined by courage and compassion. Ethan had been invisible to society, but he became her most trusted ally. And so, with one desperate slap, Ethan didn't just save Sophia's life. He rebuilt his own. 2 broken lives had collided that night, and both were changed forever. 1 slap, 1 moment, and 2 lives were changed forever. Sophia realized that sometimes heroes don't wear suits or uniforms. They come from the most unexpected places. And Ethan proved that no matter how far someone has fallen, they still have the power to rise again. What do you think? Was Sophia right to trust him? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories.